Alright, now for the arms. According to the pattern, when you're doing the arms, it says to measure about 1.25 inches from the neck. So about right in here. You can measure them about 1.25 inches, but since I already have my other one done, what I do is I place mine about on top of it and make sure that it's evenly placed. And then I'm just going to measure like that. So then you're just going to go in with your hook and yarn, and you're just going to pull through and through, and you're just going to pull through that slip stitch. Okay? And then what you're going to do is you're just going to chain up 1 and go back into that same hole for a single crochet. And then you're going to do 4 more single crochet spaced evenly. So there's 3, 4, whoops, and 5. And you want that last one to end up here at the corner. Okay? So let me recheck mine here to make sure that it's going to be rather even. Yep. Okay, so basically all you're doing here is you're just crocheting 5 single crochet along, and then you're going to turn. You will then chain up 1, zoom in for you, and then you'll just go back in those for single crochets. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, turn, chain 1, and do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Turn, chain 1, do that again. So 1, 2, 3, whoops, 4, and 5. Okay, so once you've done that, now what you want to do is turn and chain up 1. Now this time we are going to decrease in the first 2 stitches, just like we did on the top of the heads. Go in the first stitch, pull your loop up. Go in the second stitch, pull your loop up, pull through all 3. Single crochet in the next, and then do the last 2 stitches together, just like we did in the beginning one. And that rounds the little hand. So you were completely done with that one. Finish that off, pull those through, and make sure to weave those in as you go. Just like I said, there's a lot of tails to weave in, which when I did the first one here, it was driving me crazy. So I was like, oh, on this second one we are going to work these in. And I'm still pulling little ones out here. So okay, so there's the first one. So now you want to do exactly the same thing on the second one. Okay, so again, you can, if you want to measure it, there's an easier way for you to measure it. You can actually fold your your gingerbread man over, okay, and you can measure it just like this right here. You can measure him. You can see where you line him up here, and you can just go right in to where he is on the other side and do a slip stitch. And that was the easiest way that I found to keep up with it. Do a slip stitch, do a chain 1, and go right back into that same hole for a single crochet. That's your first stitch. Next stitch, that's 2, 3, 4. You want to make sure that your 5th one is at the corner. Okay, and 5. So turn, chain 1, and just single crochet row all the way across. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Turn, chain 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So turn and chain 1, and now we are going to do our decrease rows. So you want to do the first 2, no, not yet, my bad, we got one more row to do. Single crochet all the way across. Sorry, got ahead of myself. Okay, now we'll turn and do our decrease row. So join those 2 stitches, pull them through. The next one, single crochet, and then the last 2 you'll join single crochet 2 together, just like that. You'll fasten those off, pull through and through, and weave that nasty little tail in. I don't like all these tails. For some reason I keep going back and finding even more. Alright. See, there's another one. Okay. So now you can turn him back over either way you want to, and I'm still finding tails. I think that's part of my stitch. Nope. Okay, so anyways, some of these will disappear whenever you work it, the trim. So anyway, I found out too that when I picked up my ball of yarn, it was 2 different colors. So he has a different color back side than a front side, but that's okay. He has character. So this one's a little darker. So now that we have both of these all situated, now we get to do the fun part. So what we will do is we will then start doing our embellishments. So we will put the mouth on, we will put the eyes on, and we will put the belly buttons on. Okay, so I will meet you back up here in just a minute, and we will work on those pieces. Alright guys, I initially chose the black buttons. They're kind of a little bit shiny. I was going to do a slightly different kind on this one, but out of the thousands of buttons that I have, I just couldn't find one that I liked just as good. So I'm going to do the same kind that I did here on this one. So this button here you sew on just on the back. So we are going to do that. And it's much easier to go ahead and do them now before stuffing them. So whatever kind of button you have, you can either glue or sew. It's your choice. So if you're going to sew, mine is just going to go straight in the back. So I already have my needle threaded. Because if you wait on me to thread these little needles, you'll probably be here for a while because I have such a hard time doing that. And so if you're going to sew these on, don't worry about all the leftover strands of yarn back here, thread, because it's all going to be hid anyway once we start stuffing. It's going to be all on the inside of your gingerbread man once we close it up. So don't worry about all of that. It's all going to be hid. So you should have seen the inside of mine. He was all messed up on the inside when it come to all my strands, because I like to double tie everything, and he had all kind of little strands everywhere. So anyways, so whenever I'm sewing, I leave a tail there so I can double tie. I'm always a double tier. So once I put my eyes on, I go through maybe 4 passes, and that's generally enough. You don't need to sew it to death. So once that's done, that's 4 passes. Okay, so then I have my strand here that I'm just going to tie up, and I made my strand here long enough to where I can just go directly and use it for the other eye. Okay, so then I tied that on there, and then I'm just going to finish that off. Take a little off of that, and then I just leave that long piece there. No need to cut it way down, because then chances are it's going to come unraveled on you inside, and then once it does that, there's nothing really you can do about it from the inside once you have this thing all put together. Okay, so then I'm going to put my other eye on. So then you just line them up. And like I say, you can glue, hot glue, and I do have a hot glue gun, but I like this technique better. And I like the buttons here. And these buttons right here don't generally glue on, as well as the buttons with the holes in them. The 2 or 4 holes where you sew. And sometimes I like to sew. But I'm not an embroiderer, however you say that. Me and my southern slang, sometimes I can't say those little words. But so anyways, you just get these eyes on here, however you choose. And it does get a little thick to try to get them on. And once you're done, you can pass it through as extra security. Then you tie this last one. And I'm not sure how many videos you guys watch of mine, but I am all about that extra tying on and extra security, so I think I made that one a little short. Yeah. I'll get one tie out of it, that's good enough. I'll cut that down a little bit. Okay, so then you have your eyes on. Okay, so then what you want to do, I don't think that piece will be big enough. See if I can get me another piece going here for the mouth. So then what you want to do is you want to do your mouth. Now you can do your mouth any way that you really want to do it. And I'm threading here, hopefully this goes on quickly. You can do it in a half of a circle like I did on the first one, or you can do it in a smiley, a pointy smiley face, or any way you want to do it. It's kind of tricky to do them, I found out. So you can just start anywhere you see fit, and then you leave some here in the back just so you can tie it off. Just don't make him look like Frankenstein. He's supposed to be Happy Boy. And don't make it go down too far on his neck, because you don't want him swallowing his own mouth, if that makes any kind of sense. And then just go across. That way he's smiling at you, not frowning. And don't pull them too tight, because if you pull it too tight, then the thread gets lost and goes deep inside the yarn and doesn't look as great. He's going to have a bit of a crooked smile. That's alright. There you go. He's handsome. Then you turn it over. Looks like a minefield went off. Ha, that's okay. It's alright. So then I'm just going to kind of weave that yarn or that thread over towards where I started. That way I can tie those off. Okay, and I'm going to clip a little bit of that off. That way I can tie it. Gently tie that so that it doesn't come unraveled. Okay, and you'll have a little bit of a mess, but like I say, it's going to stay there, so that's a good thing. Alright, and with the rest of my yarn, now it's time to put the belly buttons on. You just situate those any way you want. And I usually make about 3 passes on those, so you start from the back. And these little buttons are cool that I have, if you can see them real good. They actually, let's see, they actually look like they've actually been sewn already if you look really good. You see how they already look like they've been sewn on. So those are really fun. That's why I chose them. I liked them. So you just go ahead and make your X's. And you can use buttons that are 2 or 4 hold, or like I say, you can just you can use hot glue gun, or you can use you don't even have to use buttons. You can use like gems or whatever, plastic pieces. And another idea for these, other than a Christmas ornament, you know, you can tie a ribbon. I didn't tie the ribbon on mine, but you can tie a ribbon on them and hang them on the tree from, you know, put the ribbon on its head up here at the top and hang it from the tree. Or you can attach it to a wreath. Okay, so I made 3 passes. So now instead of disconnecting my yarn, what I'm going to do is just take this other button right here, and I'm just going to go straight directly in the back. So no need in losing all that yarn and cutting it off. Just go directly to it. Because when you're hiding all this in back by putting 2 pieces together, there's no sense in worrying about what it looks like in the back. And then just go on to your next one. But you can also stuff him in with your polyfill. You can also stuff him with some scented, what am I trying to say, leaves. You can get some oils and do drops on your polyfill if you wanted to give him a Christmas scent. So just some ideas, like you could do a couple drops of peppermint or different things like that to make him smell good as you're hanging him on the tree. I know they have like fur, what am I trying to say? Alright, so I'm done, so I'm just going to go in the back here. And I'm just going to thread this through a couple times. I'm not even going to tie that off. But like for the trees, they have those little fur tree scent sticks that you stick in your Christmas trees at Christmas time. You could actually take your polyfill and stick in the center of one of those and stick it in here and make him smell good and hang him on your tree. So, you know, there's all different kind of ideas for these things, and give them as gifts. Anyways, so he is all embellished now. So we will be back and I will show you how to stuff his belly full of polyfill and we'll sew him together. Alright guys, I am back. So now what you do is you take your top piece, put it on your bottom piece. According to the instructions, you want to start on your armpit here. And you're going to join right into the center. Make sure you have both pieces, and you want to join with a slip stitch. Okay, make sure you get all of that piece. Sometimes these are a little tricky, so make sure you get it really good in there. So chain 1, and then you just want to go around into each stitch. Work around that tail if you can. So just do a single crochet, and on pieces like this here where it's not a stitch, make yourself a stitch, but make them evenly spaced. You don't want to jumble them, but you don't want to make big gaps in between them either. So just work around. If you have to, pull it apart so you can look at it. Take your time. And you want to stuff as you go. And you don't want to stuff him to where he looks like a Thanksgiving Day turkey. That's not the point of this here, and he will curl up a little bit, so just work with him. You just want to lightly stuff each body part. So just go around and just single crochet in each stitch as you go. So just a little bit tedious when there's no stitches and you make your own, but then it gets easier as you get to the stitches. And don't make them super tight as I just did right there, because it curls up a bit. Okay, make sure you get in the corners. That's very important. You don't want to leave those corners out. And just work it as you go, best you can. And just work your way up the piece. And all those ends and rough edges will be gone as you work around. And up here at the head there are a couple stitches, so that should be rather easy. Okay, so then what you'll do is once you start getting this built up, you'll start taking a little bit of your filling, like over here at the hand, and you'll just start putting a little bit over there. And then you'll just take your gingerbread man and you'll work a little bit more. Make sure that all your ends are stuffed in that were hanging loose. And then you'll just keep going around. And some of these stitches are a little tedious, so you may have to pull it apart here, do one side, and then go into the other, and it works out a lot better. Okay, so I'm going to work on mine, and as I get down closer to the bottom, I'm going to come back on and show you as I get down closer to the bottom, and we will finish this off together. Okay, so I'll see you in a bit. Alright guys, I am on the last leg. I am just stuffing it and finishing up with closing it up now. So I hope you have gotten as far as I have now, and then our little gingerbread man will be full-bodied. And like I said, you don't need to overstuff him. Just a light stuffing. It's really all he needs. And you just do it a little bit as you go, and if you see he needs more, then you add more. Okay. And once you're back up to the arm, what you'll do is you'll finish off with a slip stitch right into the armpit where you started. And then you'll fasten that off and pull it through. Make sure you get a good knot in there. And if you pulled any fiber fill out with you, you can go back and stuff that. So now just go right about in the center of his back. Grab that tail and pull it all the way until it disappears. And then if you have a tail hanging out, just cut it. And then you just go back and trim him up like I've been doing. Seems like forever. And then you have your gingerbread man. In my case, I have 2. And like I said, you can do many different things with your gingerbread man. You can make him sachets, Christmas gifts. You can make him smelly. You can put a ribbon at the top and hang him from your tree. Make him doorknob hangers, all different kinds of things. So again, this is from Yarnspirations.com. So you type in Christmas ornaments and he'll come up with his snowflake or his snowman friend, and there'll also be a Christmas tree, and in with these patterns, they're knit and crochet patterns all together. There'll be a reindeer, Christmas tree, and snowman in with it. And the original yarn was Peyton's, but I don't usually have Peyton's here, so I could not use the Peyton's yarn. So use whatever yarn you have. So, and again, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. And until next time, happy hooking!